Gerardo Del Real here. I'm at an undisclosed location in the heart of South Dakota, standing on what could be the single most valuable piece of ground in the mining world right now. The tiny company that owns it trades for under $1. I believe that price is about to become irrelevant because what just came out of this ground for the first time in 140 years has the potential to turn a small stake into a serious fortune. Behind me is 351 acres of private ground, patented mining claims, surface and mineral rights owned by a single company. Miners worked this land in the 1880s. The US military pulled strategic minerals out of it during World War II. And then, for all practical purposes, the vault closed. Nobody drilled it, nobody tested it with modern equipment. Nobody had any idea what was really locked inside. That is, until a few weeks ago. This tiny company, one you've almost certainly never heard of, ran the first modern drilling program this property has ever seen. And what came out of the ground floored me. 7 critical minerals, every single one on the federal government's official list, all from the same property, all confirmed in the drill core. I'm calling it America's Secret Vault because that's exactly what it is. 140 years of sealed ground with a potential fortune in critical minerals locked inside. This sub-dollar company just quietly cracked it open, and almost nobody knows anything about it. No one in the media has mentioned it. Wall Street analysts, newsletter writers, none of them are covering this. Not even the smart money smells the blood in the water, evidenced by the fact that 93% of the shares are held by individual investors like you and me. Heck, the only reason I know about it is because I help finance and vet many junior mining deals, including this one, from a very early stage. I have a vast network that clues me in on the best opportunities in the market. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why I think this opportunity is absolutely massive. I've spent the last several weeks going through everything on this opportunity. The drill logs, the assay results, geological surveys, the full history of the district. And then I got on a plane to see it for myself, which is why we're here today. Getting here meant driving deep into South Dakota's mining country, past old mining towns, down ranch roads, into territory most people would never visit unless they knew what was buried underneath. Once I got here, I walked the property, I held the drill core in my hands, I stood over the drill pads, looked at the color in the rock, and compared it to what the lab report said. I've done this dozens of times. Most of the time, what you see lines up with what you expected. Sometimes good, sometimes not. But this was different. What I saw confirmed everything the data suggested, and then some. Every hole they drilled hit mineralization. Not isolated pockets, not a single zone. We're talking about the entire property. That almost never happens on a first pass. Most companies are thrilled to hit 1 or 2 good holes. This company hit on all of them. All the previous work on this property, going back over a century, was pick and shovel. The old timers were pulling minerals out by hand in shallow trenches, and they had no way of knowing what was sitting deeper in the rock. The vault remained sealed to them, but today, modern diamond core drilling can reach hundreds of meters below the surface and pull up continuous samples that show you exactly what's down there. The mineral composition, the grade, the width of each zone. Compared to the old timers, it's the difference between fishing with a single pole in a shallow pond and sonar mapping an entire lake to pinpoint the big schools. When this company applied that technology for the first time, what came out was something those old timers never could have found. Mineral formations spread across 7 different critical elements. Each one is listed on the government's critical minerals list and targeted for domestic production. To get an idea of how rare this is, fewer than 1% of exploration programs ever result in an economic discovery. Finding 7 critical minerals on a single property on private land in America, most geologists go their entire careers without seeing something like this. It's not just the minerals, it's the whole package. The minerals, the ownership, the land status, the location, the government, all of it. And the man running this operation isn't new to this. He's an award-winning geologist with over 30 years in the field. His discovery teams have generated roughly 10 million ounces in total resources. Heck, he's raised over $500 million for exploration and development. He's won Quebec's Discovery of the Year for a high-grade gold deposit, and several of his discoveries have actually gone into production, which, as you know, is the hardest part of this business. He spent his whole career finding deposits, and what he just found here in South Dakota could be his biggest discovery yet. His company owns this whole property outright. The fact that it's private means no BLM permitting, no federal land review, no decade-long regulatory gauntlet. Most people have no idea, but the average time to permit and build a new mine in this country is 29 years. Let me say that again. That's 29 years. Most junior miners never make it. They run out of money, they run out of patience, or get strangled by red tape. S&P Global put out a report showing that since 2002, only 3 new mines have actually come online in the US, and not one of them was on federal land. The fact that this is private land means they had their drill permit in months, not years, and they're in a state that wants mining to happen. So, when this company is ready to move, it can move fast, without the regulatory headaches that bury its competitors. Now, why does any of this matter to you right now? Because we are in the early stages of the largest government-backed resource boom in American history. Critical minerals, the metals behind military hardware, electric vehicles, semiconductor chips, are now a matter of national security. For decades, America relied on foreign suppliers for nearly all of them, mostly from China. That dependency is now a crisis. As one senior defense official told the US Senate earlier this year, the very foundation of our national defense, our economic prosperity, and our technological leadership rest upon a reliable supply of essential materials. Washington is responding aggressively. The federal government has committed roughly $19 billion to secure critical minerals supply chains on American soil. That money is already moving. Lithium America has got a $2.26 billion government loan for one mineral on one project. USA Rare Earth pulled in more than $3 billion in combined federal support for a single rare earth operation. The Defense Logistics Agency just set aside $100 million to stockpile tantalum, and every one of those companies already had analyst coverage and institutional backing before the government money showed up. Now, compare that to this company. It has 7 of the minerals Washington wants. It's on American soil. It's on private land, and the entire company can be bought for less than the cost of a single government grant to its competitors. Nobody on Wall Street has found it yet. No analyst has written about it. Not a single institutional fund has taken a position. The stock trades for less than a candy bar, while billions of government dollars flow toward companies with less going for them. Now, just consider what mineral discoveries have done for the people who got in early. Take rare element resources. I found it when the rare earth space was a ghost town. Nobody cared. The sector was invisible. Then in 2010, China, which controlled 97% of the world's rare earth supply, started slashing exports. Not gradually, but all at once. And the market panicked. We got into rare element at around 14 cents. Within months, the stock blew through $1, past 5, past 10, all the way to $16. That's an 11,300% gain. A $1,000 investment became $114,000. $5,000 became more than $500,000. Imagine what that would have meant for your retirement, your mortgage, your kid's college fund. From a company nobody had heard of, in a sector nobody was watching, during a period when most investors thought it was too risky to buy anything. And that was just one mineral. Or take Patriot Battery Metals. now PMET Resources, before the lithium craze, before every automaker on earth was scrambling for battery supply. We got in at 16 cents and it skyrocketed 100-fold. $2,000 turned into $200,000. A $5,000 position became $500,000. That's the kind of gain that changes your life. And all it took was getting in early before the rest of the market caught on. Again, that was just one mineral, lithium, or consider Paladin Energy in the uranium space. In 2003, Paladin was trading at less than a penny, 0.7 of a cent. The uranium market was dead. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. You couldn't give uranium stocks away. Then supply fears hit. A major mine flooded. Governments started scrambling to secure nuclear fuel. And Paladin, which was building the world's first new uranium mine in a decade, rode the wave from under a cent to $9.66 in less than 4 years. That's approximately 138,000% return. Every $1,000 invested at the bottom became roughly $1.38 million. Not from a tech stock, not from crypto, from a tiny mining company that most investors had written off, sitting on a mineral that the world suddenly realized it couldn't live without. Or take the legendary Voisey's Bay nickel discovery in Labrador, Canada. Diamond Fields Resources was financed at just 10 cents a share. Again, nobody cared. It was a junior with a few drill holes and no following. The kind of stock most people would scroll right past without a second thought. Then the drill results came back and they'd hit the world's largest and cheapest nickel deposit. A bidding war erupted with two of the biggest mining companies on the planet fighting over it. And the stock went from 10 cents to $174 before the buyout closed. A 173,900% gain. Every $1,000 became more than $1.7 million. Think about what that means. A $5,000 stake, the kind of position most people wouldn't think twice about, would have turned into more than $8.5 million from a stock that was trading for a dime. And this is why I play almost exclusively in this space. Real mineral discoveries, the legitimate ones, create wealth regardless of what the rest of the market is doing. Bull market, bear market, recession boom, doesn't matter. A real discovery reprices on its own terms. And every single one of those stories I just walked you through involved a single mineral. Rare earths, lithium, uranium, nickel. This property I'm telling you about has 7, and they're all on the government's critical minerals list, meaning their domestic production is being fast-tracked. But that's not even the full story, because while the critical minerals data was already public, the gold assays were still pending. They had to be ran through a separate process at the lab. And I was watching closely because this property sits in one of the most prolific gold-producing regions in the country. Over 62 million ounces pulled out of the ground going back to the 1870s. At today's gold price, that's about $300 billion worth of gold, around the same size as the GDP of countries like Iran or Greece, produced from an area about the same size as Sacramento, California. This is the kind of district that turns sleepy western towns into boom towns overnight. The largest mine in this region operated for 125 years straight, continuously producing gold through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and multiple eras of American history. A second mine, a few miles from where I'm standing right now, is still actively producing today. If the gold came in the way the historic record suggested it might, this wasn't just a critical mineral story anymore. It was something bigger. Well, the gold assays came back. 9 drill holes targeted gold across this property. And get this, every single one hit. The data shows a brand new gold discovery, 500 meters long, 400 meters wide, 200 meters deep. Multiple gold hits stacked at different depths in the same holes with higher grade cores sitting inside broader zones. The mineralization comes up close to the surface, which means lower cost mining potential down the road. And they've only tested a fraction of the target so far, about 500 meters out of what looks like a 1.6 kilometer strike, open in every direction, with the potential for entirely new zones they haven't even drilled yet. The company's CEO called it a transformational result, said it sets it apart from single commodity exploration plays. Based on what I've seen, this property has the potential for at least 1 million ounces of gold, maybe more. And today's prices, that's nearly $5 billion worth of gold sitting in the ground. Discoveries like this don't happen every day. To put this in perspective, the odds of a gold discovery like this are about 1 in 100. And that's on top of the 6 critical minerals the government is desperate to secure. As I said, you can own a piece of this company for less than $1 per share. The entire company is valued at just $20 million. Yet it sits on nearly $5 billion in potential gold value, plus 6 critical minerals. That's a 250-fold spread. When the market catches up to what's actually going on here, that gap could quickly vanish. So, what are the shares actually worth? I don't guess. I work from real transaction data, actual deals between real companies. B2Gold acquired Oklo Resources for $62 million, paid over $92 per ounce of gold in the ground. Barrick paid $240 per ounce when it acquired Rand Gold. Both were single mineral deals. Apply those numbers to a property with 6 minerals on the government's critical list, plus a confirmed gold discovery, and you start to see why I believe shares could move from under $1 to $2, $5, potentially past $10. Let's think of it this way. The world's largest gold miner, Newmont, has a market cap nearly $70 billion rich. Its shares trade above $60. For you to double your money in Newmont, the stock would need to climb another $60. This company trades for under $1. To double, it needs to go up by less than $1. To tenfold, it needs to reach around $8 or $9. Given what's in the ground and what the government is spending to lock it up, I think those targets are achievable. Honestly, they might be conservative. At $5 a share, a $2,000 position becomes $10,000 or more. At $10, that same $2,000 turns into $20,000, a 10-bagger. And what happens if a major comes in and acquires the whole thing? Look at Arequipa Resources, a tiny explorer nobody had heard of, trading at 55 cents. It discovered a massive gold deposit in Peru. Within months, the stock hit $35. Then Barrick Gold launched a hostile bid, eventually paying over $1 billion to take the company out. Early investors made 60 times their money in under a year. On a $2,000 position, that's $120,000. Now, I can't say for certain that a major buyout will happen, but when you look at all the details of this property I'm telling you about, it wouldn't surprise me, which is why I've been buying the stock. I own a lot of it personally, and I plan to keep adding. And it's also why I want to get this in front of you now, while you can still get in for literal pocket change. Just a few minutes from now, you could own shares of this company inside any regular brokerage account. It's your call, but I've seen what happens when a real mineral discovery like this goes mainstream. The people who got in early make life-changing money. The people who waited all say the same thing. I wish I'd gotten in sooner. I don't want that to be you. And I don't think it has to be, because there's still time. These early results have not yet caught on in the wider market. Most people have still never heard of this stock, which is the perfect time to get positioned. I've seen this exact scenario play out many times. For 15 years, my career has been about one thing: finding small, overlooked mining companies before the rest of the market wakes up and putting my own money in first. Not every play works out, but when the setup is right, the returns are unlike anything else. Quest Rare Minerals, 7,900%. Patriot Battery, now PMET Resources, 100-bagger. Rare Element, 11,300%. I found all of them the same way. Boots on the ground, my own money on the line, and being early. And what's unfolding in South Dakota right now has more going for it than any of those wins, which is saying a lot, especially considering the results people following my research have seen from past opportunities. Glenn put $62,000 into Perpetual Resources based on my research. That position grew to $359,000, nearly 6 times his money. David built a 4-stock position with $120,000. 6 months later, he was sitting on $270,000 and $150,000 in profit. Jack booked a 2,000% gain on a single trade. Yvonne invested $1,500 in one of my uranium picks and sold it for $8,067. Her own words, "I thought that was good for a country girl." Alan Green says, "My picks have returned at least 100 times his total subscription cost." And Eric told me 2 of my recommendations alone paid out 44 times and 10 times what he spent to join. These are real people making real money from my research. I have dozens of stories like those, and frankly, it's why I do what I do. But it ain't easy. This track record takes real work, the kind of work most folks aren't willing to do. It means getting in the field like I am right now. I've flown to Argentina to walk lithium projects. I've spent weeks at mining conferences working the floor with management teams and geologists. I've hiked for hours through the jungles in Peru to stand on ground that nobody in this industry was paying attention to. When I think there's profit waiting somewhere, I just go. And what I've seen here today has convinced me this is the real deal. Nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what I found inside America's secret vault. This is one of the best setups I've ever seen, and I want to get it into your hands today. This could be a shot at turning a modest position into something that changes your whole financial future. But you have to move before the rest of the market catches on. That's what I'm giving you the chance to do right now. To get you started, I've put together a complete research dossier on this ground floor opportunity called America's Secret Vault, the sub-dollar mine sitting on 7 critical minerals the government needs. Inside, you'll find the company name and the ticker symbol so you can take a position before this story goes mainstream. My entry strategy, exactly how I'm building my position, and the price levels I'm watching. A breakdown of every confirmed mineral on the government's list. The upcoming catalysts that I believe will force the market to reprice this stock. And when I expect it could happen, I'm giving this report away free to anyone who joins me today. But that's not the only vault I've cracked open recently. Now that you've seen the property, let me show you how to get access to everything I just walked you through. Plus, a second major opportunity I've been tracking. All my premium research, what I'm buying, what I'm selling, all of it goes out through a service I run called Junior Resource Speculator. My job is to find the most explosive early stage mining companies in the world before they show up in the financial press and get myself and my readers in early. That's all I do. I've been doing it for over 15 years, and I put my own money behind every pick. This isn't some $99 a year newsletter that recycles press releases. When I recommend a stock, it's because I've done my due diligence and bought shares myself. The day I buy, you know. The day I sell, you know. For this level of research, institutional mining research, the kind hedge funds and family offices pay for, typically runs $25,000 to $50,000 a year. And even at that price, they're getting reports written from a desk. They're not getting someone who flew to the site, got his hands dirty, and put his own money in. And frankly, their track record doesn't look like mine. I've spotted 100-fold gains twice along with an 80-fold winner, plus dozens and dozens of triple and quadruple digit winners over my career. I've made millions of dollars from my investments, and I started from nothing. Look, I'm not trying to brag, but you need to know that I really do eat my own cooking. And as you've seen, my readers have had the chance to make a lot of money as a result. In Junior Resource Speculator, I send real-time alerts to a small, exclusive group of readers. Every time I buy a stock, you get the full breakdown: the company, the thesis, my entry price, and what I'm watching for. When I sell, same thing. You see everything in real time. You don't have to do any of the legwork. That's my job. You just decide which positions you want and place the trade. Even if you've never touched a mining stock before, you can do this. I make it as easy as I can for you. All you need is a regular brokerage account and a few minutes to place the trade. You just heard from people who did exactly that. Some of them had zero experience in mining stocks, and they walked away with serious money. So here's what you get when you join today: my active model portfolio. Every position I hold, updated in real time. These are my highest conviction plays. Real-time trade alerts. Every time I make a move, you get the full rationale. Monthly portfolio updates, where every open position stands, what's changed, what's next, and I completely guarantee your satisfaction. Every new member gets a full 30 days to try the service. If it's not for you for any reason, just call our team and you'll get a 100% refund. No questions asked, no hoops, no hassle, and you keep everything you received during your trial, including the Vault report, the bonus reports, and every trade alert I send. You have absolutely nothing to lose. All the risk is on me. So what's the cost? Well, it's nowhere near the $25,000 to $50,000 you'd pay for institutional mining research. Not even close. A single year of Junior Resource Speculator retails for only $2,500. But today, I've got an even better deal for you. Through this special offer, the price is only $1,999 for a year. That's about $5.50 a day, less than a cup of coffee, for access to the kind of research that can show you 10-fold, 50-fold, and even 100-fold opportunities. But I'm not stopping there. When you become a member today, you'll also get access to 3 additional reports. Bonus report number 2, the Copper Vault, inside the 30-year shutdown that created America's next high-grade discovery. America's critical minerals story isn't limited to South Dakota. I've been tracking another vault, this one sealed for nearly 30 years in the heart of Wisconsin. For more than 2 decades, a state moratorium completely shut down non-ferrous mining there. Didn't matter how rich the ground was, nobody could touch it. Then the moratorium was lifted, and one tiny company moved fast to lock up the best ground in one of the most mineral-rich belts in the country. Their first phase of drilling hit copper-rich mineralization in every single hole. There's visible gold in the core at nearly 300 meters depth. We're looking at copper, gold, silver, and tellurium, a critical mineral the Pentagon is stockpiling right now for advanced solar technology. Phase 2 drilling is underway with 2 rigs turning and a war chest of over $11 million. The stock trades for under 75 cents. The market cap is below $75 million, and almost nobody is paying attention. If you think that kind of setup can't produce massive returns in copper, consider First Quantum Minerals. It bottomed out at 24 cents during the copper bust of 2001. When the cycle turned, the stock climbed past $35, a 14,700% gain. A $2,000 position became nearly $300,000. And that was a copper company with one asset. This company has copper, gold, silver, and tellurium on sealed ground in a district that was legally off limits for a generation. Inside the report, you'll get the company name, the ticker, drill results, the regulatory shift that made this discovery possible, and my assessment of what it could be worth. And with the minerals boom taking place in America right now, I want you to have as many chances as possible to scoop up profits over the next few months. That's why I'm also giving you bonus report number 3, American Metal. 4 US-based miners positioned for the critical minerals boom. I've identified 4 companies with American mining projects that are flying under the radar right now. Each one sitting on real assets, on American soil, in sectors the federal government is actively piling money into. One is a past-producing gold mine in Idaho with a multi-million ounce resource and a development plan already in place. Another is a uranium explorer in Wyoming, expanding its footprint in one of the most historic uranium-producing regions in the country. A third has locked in partnerships worth tens of millions with some of the biggest gold miners in the world, all focused on high-grade discoveries in Nevada. None of them are household names, but each one is positioned to benefit directly from the same government spending wave I've been telling you about. And 3 of them are still trading for under $1 a share. Bonus report number 4, the speculator's edge. How to evaluate a junior mining stock before you buy a single share. This is my personal screening framework. The same criteria I used before buying Patriot Battery at 16 cents. And the same criteria that kept me out of the ones that went to zero. With this method, I've amassed a multi-million-dollar fortune and secured my family's wealth for generations. It's yours for free when you join Junior Resource Speculator today. To recap, here's everything you get today. America's Secret Vault, the 7 mineral gold discovery in South Dakota, the Copper Vault, the copper gold discovery in Wisconsin, American Metal, 4 additional US miners positioned for the critical minerals boom, the speculator's edge, my personal screening framework, plus my full model portfolio, real-time trade alerts, and monthly updates, all for just $1,999 with a 100% money-back guarantee for 30 days. So look, you've seen the kind of gains that are possible in the junior resource space. You've seen my track record, and you joined me on site at what could be one of the biggest opportunities I've seen. We've got a confirmed gold discovery sitting on top of a confirmed critical minerals deposit, with all 7 elements in the government's crosshairs as we decrease our dependence on China and increase domestic supply. Billions of dollars of federal funds are flowing to promising projects like the one in South Dakota. Right now, the stock is very cheap, but as soon as the word gets out about what's been discovered there, we could see a generational re-rating that could mint a small fortune for anyone who gets in now. Discoveries like Rare Element and Patriot Battery produce some of the most spectacular gains in my portfolio. The kind of returns that turn small positions into life-altering money. And we could be on the brink of another opportunity just like those. But only if you act now. The gold discovery is confirmed. The data is out. The CEO calls it transformational. And the stock is still under $1. Don't wait for the analysts and funds to discover this opportunity. By the time they get in, the early gains could be off the table. We're at the ground floor right now. And take it from me, someone who's made an entire career out of spotting opportunities just like this one. This moment could disappear in an instant. So if you're ready to join me on what could be my next great gain, simply click the link below and you'll be taken to a secure page where you can review all the details and lock in your discounted rate. Thank you for joining me today. See you in the members area.